What up, YouTube? It's Cassie here, your short hooper, here to talk about last night's game against USC versus UCLA. As you can see, I'm wearing a UCLA Blue Out shirt. That's because I went to the game last night, and every fan that walked in got offered a t-shirt. Of course, I'm sure many people that were there in their USC jerseys and whatnot were like, no thank you. I gladly took one. I was just there to see some good basketball. You know, I'm really excited about USC and UCLA's basketball teams. They're both doing so great right now, and I wanted to see what was going on. So honestly, when I went there, I was kind of leaning towards USC winning. I was wearing a red shirt, but it was for a Japanese team, Fujitsu Red Wave. So it, if you were looking in the fans, you'd see red, maybe think USC, but it was not an actual USC shirt. But I was leaning towards USC winning because I was very excited to see what Juju Watkins was going to play like. I've obviously heard lots about her, but to actually see it in person was really cool. But I was also really excited to see Lauren Betts play, who's the center for UCLA, has a lot of hype around her. She recently announced that she would not be entering the WNBA draft, but would complete her senior year next year. And her sister is coming in as a freshman, so they will most likely play together. And that's always fun to see sisters play. So I was just there to see some good basketball. I happily took this shirt, and now I have a really cute bear shirt, and happy to have more, women's basketball gear. So yeah, no complaints there. I was also not the only person to be attending this game. This game was sold out and also had a ton of celebrities there, which was not surprising. But some notable ones that was super fun to see was, of course, Candace Parker with her wife and baby. So cool, and just love to see great athletes supporting the up-and-coming athletes. Both Reggie Miller and Cheryl Miller were there. A lot of people are talking about that because Cheryl was obviously rooting for USC, where she went to college to play basketball, and then Reggie was rooting for UCLA, where he was playing college basketball back in the day. So that was very, very fun. You also got Leslie Jones, and you got John Legend, and of course, Jason Sudeikis. So a lot of people wanted to be at this game because it was a very important game. Whoever was going to win was going to take over for top seed. And as we know, on February 13th, UCLA was crushed by USC, where Juju put up 38 points. So people were saying, hey, I think UCLA is going to show up and just, go on their revenge tour. And that didn't happen. Nope. Instead, USC won 80-67. And honestly, most of the game, they were up by 8 to 10 plus points. There were a couple times where it got close, maybe like 5 points, maybe even 3 points, where it was like, okay, is this where UCLA is going to turn it on? And it just wasn't happening. I'll give it, maybe there's some injuries or something, but just as somebody who was there, the ball movement for USC was just on fire and clicking. And you were just seeing a lot of support on all ends. When you have a player like Juju Watkins, yeah, you could just keep running the ball through her and having her score, because literally you give her half a second, she shoots and the ball goes in. It was incredible to see. It was also incredible to see a sophomore player just being so calm and not losing her cool, which I feel like you see people in professional sports like just get in their heads, and she the whole time was just ready. And again, this was at UCLA, so people were booing. And were definitely against USC, and one of the chants they had against Juju Watkins was literally air ball, but that didn't faze her because she scored 30 points. And she didn't need to score all the points because she had great help, from players like Kiki Iriafen, who is projected to be the number 2, maybe number 3 pick in the WNBA draft. She put up 17 points. She was great with those rebounds and had some clutch moves and was always ready for the ball to do a layup. And of course, Kennedy Smith played great as well. She put up 7 points and had 2 rebounds, 1 assist, but was just a great option when, there was just too many people on Juju. But honestly, there were plays where 3 people were on Juju and she still was able to shoot the ball and make it. Pretty cool stuff. And then on the UCLA side, unfortunately, it didn't feel like anyone was super lighting up except for Kiki Rice. Kiki Rice had a great game. She scored 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. So Kiki was like the best option last night. Londynn Jones was also super fun to see, was a shorter player, which, as a short hooper, I'm always excited to see a short player out there balling, and she totally did. She scored 12 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and Lauren Betts got off to a slow start. It honestly kind of felt like maybe already she was like in her head a little bit before the game even started, just because of the last game. And then she had 2 or 3 times she got called for traveling, which like everybody was just kind of like, wait, what? Can we see that again? I think it was just like the slightest maybe shuffling of feet and they were just like bam on it with her. And it's hard to keep your cool when you're like, wait, I just got traveled called on me. I literally just got the ball and was about to go up for layup and you called travel on me. And then it happened again. And then I think it happened a 3rd time. So then you just get to the point where you're like, well, I'm not going to shoot. I'm going to get the ball and I'm going to find a teammate that's open and get it to them. And so she was doing that for a while. And then in the 3rd quarter, that's where it felt like she was bam, a little more locked in, and she got 11 points. And then she also had 11 rebounds and 1 assist. So she showed up and, I was expecting, a little bit more, but again, it could just be like injuries on UCLA's team where it's like, your usual people that you're working with, that's not happening, and other things as well. Who knows? It's college. There could be a final. Who knows? But, that doesn't take away from the fact that she's in the talks of being, one of the top college players, MVP possibly. So, she's in there in the top 5 with Juju and Paige and many others. So we're definitely going to keep watching. We still have a couple more weeks until the March Madness begins, which is going to be super exciting. And just as somebody that got to go and watch a USC versus UCLA game, it was really fun and super cool to see. Highly recommend if you're able to see either teams play. I know when we get into March Madness, they're going to be more on the main stage of, American basketball. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to hold up against the heavy, heavy, heavy East Coast side of basketball, where you got your UConn, you got your Carolinas, you got your Notre Dame, you got, I feel like, I don't know where Iowa fits in, but everybody now has their eye on Iowa as well as LSU. So it's going to be really interesting. But I think, maybe it's not UCLA's year, but with Lauren staying another year and her sister coming on board, maybe next year, and they were part of the Big Ten. Unfortunately, USC beating them kind of like knocked that off. And now USC is like, hey, we're here. And like I said, I was seeing really great ball movement and, a super calm team and pretty in sync. So I'm thinking, it's going to be really fun to see USC go against these big East Coast teams. So I'm excited. I'm trying to get more into women's college basketball. I just, it's just so many teams. It's hard to be like, okay, I'm watching Unrivaled. I'm keeping up with WNBA and college basketball. It just gets to be a lot of basketball. Plus, I do watch some NBA. I'm a Clippers fan. So, it's a lot of basketball. But I was so excited to go to that college game last night and to see it sold out and to see people showing up. It's just really exciting. It's a really exciting time for women's basketball. And it's cool to see that, in this upcoming draft, we're seeing like Paige Beckers and Kiki, who I got to see play, going into the draft. So seeing where they go, like that's super exciting. And then the next year, boom, you got Lauren Betts. And then the year after, we got Juju Watkins coming to the WNBA. And I think people are going to lose their minds. Like, this is one of the first players we know that from her freshman year, people were already talking about her. And as a sophomore now, we're seeing her in State Farm commercials. In LA, there are murals of her. And seeing her play, it's like, yes, this is the real deal. She is so good. And we can't wait for her to get to the W. So that's going to just be insane when we get there. So luckily we have college basketball, so we can keep an eye on her along with a lot of other great players. And I'm looking forward to March Madness. So it's only a couple of weeks away. See you then.